Saw him actually in, yeah, yeah, very happy for Rand. I saw him actually in San Francisco. I went to the 49ers Seahawks playoff game, and he was going through the interview process, and wished him luck during those interviews. I remember Rand as a player, smart player, tough player, accountable. You could tell he grew up in a football family. Didn't take him long to figure out our system, and we put him in there a lot, during critical situations because he knew what to do. And as a quarterback, you always want running backs in there that know what to do. And I spent some time with Rand when he was with the Rams the year after I finished playing. Went out there and spent some time with. Or maybe a couple years after I finished playing with Sean McVay and their staff, and watched some film with Rand and Les Snead. So great hire by the Titans, and I think he'll do a heck of a job. I mean, they both want to win. That's all Mike cares about is winning. And Rand speaks the same language, and so I think the two of them can work well together. It's obviously important, I think, for head coaches and GMs to be in sync. You don't have to agree on everything, but you better be communicating and talking things out. And so I think they'll do that, and I think it could be a really good combination.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. As you can see, we got a star-studded lineup with us. We got the Titans Colosseum on the podcast, on the show tonight. We're so excited to have you guys on, man. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Man, we blessed, man. How you doing, Rossi?
Yes, sir. Doing good, man.
I'm blessed too, man. Very blessed, man. Very grateful today. But I wanted to play that clip. I saw that today. It was Jim Wyatt was interviewing. Shout out to Jim Wyatt for the video there. But he was interviewing Peyton about Rand Carthon, and what better person to ask than Peyton? I mean, he played with the guy. He knows him well. And it seems like a lot of people are excited about Rand Carthon. There's a video that I want to play a little later. Jeffrey Simmons. We'll just go ahead and roll it now. It's about a minute long. I just kind of wanted to get on this to start off with. But this was Jeff talking about Rand Carthon, and I think this is important. I think this really shows you how good Rand could be with the players, with contracts and all that stuff. So this is Big Jeff at the Pro Bowl.
Cool, man. It's been an unbelievable week. My family here, been having a good time. Just to see the great players in this league once again this year. It's always an honor to surround yourself with grace. It's just trying to get my body back feeling good. That's kind of been the thing, especially for me, with my ankle and whatever it may be. But I know the locker room going to change, and I know, I met with Rand, and he's an unbelievable guy. I had a great talk with him. Can't say much, nothing bad about him. First impression was, out the window. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what him and Coach Ray, build around, what we have already and what's coming back. And, hopefully we could, get past what we had last year and, win some championship around Tennessee. When he got hired, he felt like and I feel like he's a person for this job. And, not much I can say, especially with the talk of the contract, because like I said, that's, my team is handling that. So whenever we get to that point, and I feel very confident that I'll be here in Tennessee, which I want to be in Tennessee. So we'll see how it goes.
So there you go. I mean, I just think it's a very positive thing, the way some of these players are talking about Rand, and maybe I'm wrong, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember really. I mean, I've seen some videos of Byard and some of the players talking about J-Rob when he left or when he was fired. I just don't remember ever seeing players talk about like J-Rob, like how Simmons is kind of explaining Rand. And I don't know if it's just kind of the newness of it all, but I don't know. Just and we'll start kind of go around, but how excited are you guys to have Rand, ex-player, take this thing over from this point out?
Yeah, I started off. I really like Rand Carthon. I really it was I think we was in a group chat with them, and I was telling them I'm like, yeah, I like either him or Ian Cunningham, and I was like, man, I really like Rand Carthon's background because I really like the 49ers roster. I think the 49ers roster was from top to bottom like well put together from like depth from a depth standpoint from a only thing they really was missing was just a elite quarterback, but like from like wide receiver to offensive lineman, defensive line, I think they probably could have upgraded the corners a little bit, but I think the 49ers roster was to me, you know what I'm saying, one of the best. I mean, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but it was a good roster. But with Brand, I like what he's bringing. I mean, he's bringing a culture. It seems like a culture that people are going to gravitate around. The players are liking him. I'm hearing a lot of good things from other players, other GMs, other people that he's been around, like Jeff Fisher for once. I've heard it from John Lynch, all of them. So hopefully he brings the right vibe.
Right, and just to add a little bit to what RJ just said, he's got that connection with the players as well, with him being a former player and Vrabel being a former player. So that right there, I believe, will go a long way. I didn't know much about him at first, but you know, when J-Rod was fired and they came out with, you know, names of potential guys who could fill the spot, you know, I just got to looking at, you know, the teams where they were coming from and, you know, how their roster was constructed. And when I ran across Rand, you know, I got to think about the 49ers. I mean, shoot, the 49ers, I mean, yeah, they, you know, top to bottom, like RJ said, I mean, they got them dudes. And Rand, man, ever since then, I mean, he just stuck out to me. It was like, you know, I can take Rand because, you know, the 49ers, you don't hear a lot about them as far as internal beef goes on or whatever. And
Right.
I think him and Vrabel do a good job together. You know, the players, they're receiving well. And most importantly, you know, Amy, she agrees with them as well. So hopefully it all works out on the field. Because I mean, if it don't work out on the field, I mean,
all
all
that
what we
matters,
saying
right?
right now is
Yeah.
gonna go out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't know much about him. I had to do research once we was hiring him because, like, you know, we wasn't really expecting a GM change. Like, once we, you know, we start reading the tea leaves looking back, it makes sense now. But, you know, J-Rob just got an extension. I wasn't really paying attention to him. But the more I dive into him, I can't find nobody that says anything bad about him. His football IQ seems to just be blowing off the charts. It seems like him and Vrabel got the same mentality, too. So it just seems like it's going to be a perfect synergy. So I'm excited for it. I'm very optimistic about it.
And Daddy Hot Drops makes a good point. No, not to put water on Rand fire, but Rand is like a new puppy in this scenario. Let's see how much he's liked as he grows up and gets older. Yeah, and I agree with you there, man. And it is it's the proof will be on the field and what happens. And he's got his work cut out for him, man. And we're going to get into some of this stuff tonight. We're going to get into this first round trading rumor. We're going to get into the offensive line. The offensive line is starting to look to be even in more dire straits than it was, with a few reports that are out. We'll get into that. First and foremost, let's just get in right to the topic of this video. And I have it here. Now, this came out this week on Twitter. Ben Devine, from apparently he's a Bears fan account. This was on A to Z earlier. He's not really like a media guy or anything like that, but apparently he's close to the Bears. And who am I to hate on somebody or to say anybody's wrong or anything, because I do kind of some of the same stuff. But, you know, a lot of our stuff is turned out to be true. I don't know about this guy, but, you know, apparently he was saying that the Titans are one of the teams to have inquired about about trading up for the number one pick to either go get Stroud or Bryce Young. I talked to James earlier tonight, our resident insider, and I said, man, have you heard anything you've heard about it? He's like, no, not really. He's like that. He said, the only thing that I've heard was at the Senior Bowl, they just threw a loose inquirement out there, and basically they asked, what were the Bears wanting for the first pick. And apparently the Bears reportedly, from what he told us, this is from James of the Titan Upload Network, he said the Bears reportedly want 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, and a third, which kind of it kind of makes sense as far as you look back at the history. The last time a number 1 pick was traded was with who, guys?
With us.
With us. That was the last time any team traded for a first pick, and they traded for our first pick. And this was back in 2016. And the Rams, obviously, they got Jared Goff out of the deal. He was the number 1. And they gave us the first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick for that draft, a first-round pick in 2017, another third-round in 2000. So it's kind of on the same feel, I guess, but they're wanting 2 first instead of, well, I guess we gave up 2 first, then 2. So that it would be, if it was 2 first, obviously it'd be this year, maybe next year or whatever, the year after. Let's hit on this, guys. Like, what is it worth it? How do you guys feel about it? How do you guys feel about Stroud and Young? Are they the future?
Who want to go on this first?
I'll
go first?
I'll go ahead and get it out the way because
right.
I don't have too much to say as far as the quarterback goes. I'm not a big college guy, but I'll say this. I mean, if the Titans fall in love with either guy, I mean, they should do whatever they got to do to go get their guy. I mean, if you get you a franchise quarterback, a guy that's going to stick around 10, 12, however many years or whatever, I mean, you really can't put a price on that. So I say go ahead and give up whatever, as long as you love the guy and you confident that he'll be around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna let you finish it off because I already know where you're going. But for me, that's too much to give up. We have too much to fix on this team right now. A quarterback is not going to be our savior. Do we need to improve at the quarterback position? Yes, but a quarterback is not going to be a savior. If we give away all that draft capital to go get a young quarterback, and now we have no draft capital to build a team around him that's already getting torn apart, already injury prone, he's not going to be set up for success, and we're going to put him in a bad situation. So even though we'd be drafting the future, we'd be giving away our future as well to build around him.
All right, y'all ready for me, man? All right, Ross, can you do me a favor? Can you pull that trade back up again?
You know he do.
Where is it? Is it back there on the wall? I don't see it.
No, man, it ain't on Well, Ross, can you do me a favor? Put that picture of that trade back up.
Yeah. Let's see here.
RJ want to add another first round pick too.
Hey, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, man. The Rams won that trade, man. You want to know why they won that trade? They went to the Super Bowl, man. You feel me? They went to the Super Bowl, and they had a lot wrong with their team at that point in time. Yeah, you think about it. I say, man, we've already tried to build the team that we're trying to build right now. We've already tried it for over 20 plus years, man. Let's go and get the pick, man. Either if it's, I'm cool with either quarterback too. And my thing is, I feel like Bryce Young, he's the better quarterback, but I feel like CJ Stroud fits our style of what we're trying to do and be a running football team and make him play on the center. I feel like CJ Stroud does that better. But my thing is, I say go for it. We ain't never did nothing like that. We never had the number 1 pick. We haven't had a franchise quarterback since Steve McNair. Then let's go get him. You know what I'm saying? Let's go get a franchise quarterback. And we've already seen what Rand Carthon can do in the lower rounds. We can build the offensive line from the lower rounds. Golf, yeah, exactly. Golf took him to the Super Bowl, man. Y'all, you saying, oh, that's a lot. Man, Golf, he took him there, and then they went back again with a different quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna say they had to get rid of him to win one,
I
though.
wanted to say
Come on now.
that, though. So we seen what the Rams gave up, and you say they won the trade. I mean, ain't nobody with their team from that trade. So I mean, I look at it like they broke even. Now, back to what I said, I mean, you want a guy who gonna stick around, and Golf didn't stick around. So I mean, was it really worth it? I mean, yeah, they went to the Super Bowl, but it wasn't because of Golf.
In hindsight, you would have just traded for Stafford sooner, right? You would have never
I mean,
drafted
if Golf would have worked out, they would have just gave him a second contract. But they wound up trading him and like, nah, y'all can just get Golf. I mean, but Golf doing this thing on the line, it's not like he sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he's like in the same realm as Ryan Tannehill. Like, but my thing is though, with the Rams, like, if we go back and look at that trade, we traded with the players that we got out of those picks. We got Derrick Henry, which is okay. We got a Hall of Famer out of it, but we got Jonnu Smith, who's not on the team anymore. We got Austin Johnson, who was not on the team anymore, and I can't remember else. I think those were the three players that we got. Like none of them players, even though, I mean, outside of Derrick Henry, none of them players is on the team, and we ain't been to a Super Bowl. So how did we win that trade? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we got a great player out of it. Got a probably one of the best running backs of all time. He arguably one of them, you know. So I mean, other than that, like I want to get to the bowl, man. I'm trying to get to the big game, and you're not gonna get there without no quarterback, man. I'm telling y'all this now. Like,
so fail everything for the QB.
I put a poll on Twitter earlier yesterday. It's up to almost 4,000 votes now. You know, if the Tennessee Titans do trade up for the number one pick, which QB would you take? And let us know, just hypothetically, and we'll get to the comments. There's a lot of people who were, you know, kind of 50-50 on if we should or we shouldn't. But who would you guys take in the chat? Let us know. Would you take Bryce Young? Would you go with the more flashy kind of mini? They're calling him mini Mahomes because he's smaller than Mahomes. Type of quarterback, or would you take, you know, CJ Stroud, the more prototypical, bigger quarterback? He's still got can still run and stuff like that. Which one would you take, CJ Stroud or Bryce Young? We already know who RJ is going to take. But who would y'all take in the chat there? Let us know. I do want to scroll back to some of these comments because there were some good ones what we were talking about here. Let me see here. I kind of put a star on some of them. JS75, and shout out to everybody in the bill. We got 52 people in here. Make sure y'all tighten up that like button. Make sure you go follow these guys too. Titans Colosseum. Y'all are on YouTube. Y'all are on all the podcasts, like apps too. Pretty much every app, Spotify,
and social media and all that as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all go follow these guys, man. They've been ripping and roaring lately. They got a good show. So y'all go follow them too. But JS75 says, all I'm saying is if we do trade up and get QB, we need to hire an OC who's going to develop him to be elite. Great point. You know what I mean? I mean, you're gonna go and get a guy like that. You got to get somebody who can coach him. You know. So, let's see who else we got here. Top tier P Shark, and shout out to P Shark. He said a top tier QB makes up for the holes. I'm a Bryce fan. Make the deal.
Hey, like in the famous words of Giselle Brady, her husband can't throw the ball and catch the ball. So we can have a great dude out there, but if he's dropping passes, wide receivers ain't getting open. He ain't got nobody to throw to.
I watched Joe Burrow go to the Super Bowl with a bunch of hoes. You feel me?
Like he had no holes
that league, man. We gotta give the
hole when it come to wide receiver, running back, defense.
He did.
I mean, his holes on the offensive line, and shoot, man. I mean, we ain't got no weapons on the outside with receivers. I mean, we need cornerbacks on defense. I mean, we need way more than what the Bengals needed at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they would. They
And the
would have
Bengals'
some.
offensive line wasn't as bad as ours was this year. I mean,
Okay.
I guess you could probably say they were. They gave up a
No,
lot.
That's tough.
they
That's
did.
tough.
They didn't have a
Like,
tackle.
we ain't never give them no 9 sacks, bro. You know what?
Hey,
That was
but
pretty bad.
at least they didn't have a guy like Bailey just watching people run past them. At least all
Yeah.
their linemen tried and actually got in front
Yeah, I
of
give you
people.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
I think they both comparable though, man. They both
Yeah,
were
they are.
terrible.
They are. Yes.
Yeah, they were I guess 9 sacks, but they gave up a lot of sacks that year too.
Yeah, they did.
Who else we got here? The good Reverend Al Pierce is in the building. Shout out to him. He says we can't give up our future, especially with cap problems. The Rams had cap space to recover. We don't have
I can't
such.
follow that pretty bad.
That's a true story there. Power Hour says Derrick Henry was worth the trade.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ken Moore's in the building. Shout out to Ken Moore.
What's going on with you,
follow
kid?
him. He says, I think the Rams had a much better cap situation when they made the trade. It would take at least 2 years to reap the benefits. Who else we got in here? We'll kind of get into this offensive line issue too. So we were talking about the offensive line. Now there's been some things come out recently that I don't know if it was on Jim Wyatt's Twitter. He might have posted something. I don't know if he was saying it or somebody else was saying it, but somebody was saying they might not bring back Nate Davis. So, and then you got, okay, you don't re-sign Nate Davis. Ben Jones possibly retires.
Yeah.
You're talking about replacing 4 offensive linemen. Unless you're sticking with Aaron Brewer, which I hope to God you're not sticking with Aaron Brewer as your starter anyways. I know they ain't sticking with Daly.
No.
So you're potentially having to replace your entire offensive line other than MPF.
No, we might as well bring Dennis Daly back.
Now, I will say this though: when J. Rob's first year he came, he basically had to do that with the offensive line. All we had was Lawan, and he restructured everybody else around that.
True.
So it's doable. I don't know if it's doable this year because of how the free agency is, but I mean, I think we can at least get it better than what it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we get it to a serviceable point, I mean, I'll be cool with it because I mean, this season right here, I mean, it was just a god awful mess. I mean, as soon as Lawan went down, I was like, oh shoot, here we go. And there we went. I mean, just every week, I mean, Tannehill was just taking a beating and running for his life. And, you know, I was like, man, this dude ain't going to make it. And sure enough, I mean, they got him killed. So, I mean, if we can get it to a serviceable point, I mean, that right there would be a win. And as far as re-signing Nate Davis, I mean, the offensive line is just so bad. I mean, it's the situation we in. We gonna have to pay this dude because I mean, you don't want to create another hole on top of everything else we got going on.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're gonna pay him, man. I just got this feeling, man, they're gonna let Nate Davis walk and they're gonna try to find some pieces in the later round to try to replace him. I just feel like, man, either they're gonna find somebody in free agency. That's the thing is we're gonna have to see how these cuts go and if we're gonna trade or do something that's gonna like fix some of these holes, man. But I don't feel it next year. Like I feel like next year is gonna be kind of a down year. But the year after that, they was talking about that we're supposed to be opened up over 90-some million in cap room, but that doesn't include, according to Spotrac, that doesn't include Jeffrey Simmons' deal, which I think they're gonna pay him as the best D lineman in football. So we're gonna see how it goes.
I think it's gonna come down. Also, there's gonna be a couple players that, it's gonna come down to the surprise, not re-signing like Davis or David Long. There's 2 guys right there. David Long's a guy that is a starter in this league, and he's a damn good starter. The question is, can he stay healthy? I believe that there's going to be a team out there who offers both of these guys some pretty good money, and they're probably going to offer them a lot more than what we're going to offer them, just because of the situation that we're in. The only issue I have is why. I mean, I think you should re-sign Nate Davis. I just feel like that. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't call him a great player, but he's a good guard. I mean, he's a serviceable guard. You don't really hear his name called too much, which is good for an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like you already got a starter there, and he's solidified the position. As long as he's not, I just don't see him attracting an insane dollar amount. I don't know. I mean, but maybe I'm wrong there.
The only way I see that kind of like, because I'm with you on that. Like, unless he's wanting an insane amount of money, I still think as long as he's a reasonable value, that he's a piece that can be on the team that we can help build around and do better. Can we upgrade with him? Yes, but I don't think that upgrade happens this year. The only way I see them letting him go is if you see somebody in free agency that you believe is either at level with him or close to his level that's at a better deal, and you're going to try to work with that, or we're going to try a new different scheme of offensive line. But I wouldn't expect Nate Davis to be gone. That's one of the few people we can kind of build around if Ben Jones goes.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, I just got this weird feeling, especially with that report coming out, man. I just feel like they're not going to keep Nate Davis because they're going to have to try to. I think they're going to pay David Long. I think that's the dude they're going to pay. They're going to pay him and they're going to pay Jeffrey Simmons. But he said he'd be surprised. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. Yeah, Jim Wyatt said somebody'd be surprised.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but it's got to be something if Jim
he got hurt too, man. He was barely playing, man. Like how many times did Nate Davis get hurt this season? It was a lot.
He was on the injury list a lot this year.
Yeah, he got hurt quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So I mean, maybe I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. And Rand Carthon's got his work cut out for him, man. I would say this year, I just feel like this season, it's just one of those off seasons where it just seems like there's just a lot more work to do than usual. And a lot of that is because of the way the season went and everything like that. Now there has been some talk of the Titans liking Hendon Hooker. They interviewed him at the Senior Bowl and things like that, and Titan Fox says Hendon Hooker in the second round, laugh out loud. I know I'm a dreamer, used the 11th pick on an O lineman. A lot of people are talking about, too, like, okay, say you do trade up. You do trade up and you get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, then what do you do for the offensive line? Where does that leave that? I guess the thing is, too, if you trade up for the first pick and you're taking a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud, you're cutting Tannehill, right? Yeah. I mean, you got to cut Tannehill, so that would open up some money. Yeah.
But according to when I was listening to 104.5 today when I was driving around, I heard that this is like one of the better like offensive line draft classes. Like you can get linemen in the later rounds that are going to be serviceable for your team. So. Like I said, I trust Rand Carthon. We've literally drafted Rand Carthon because of his work in the later rounds. I really think he's going to try to nail this later round stuff with the offensive line. I feel like that's where he's going to find some of these depth pieces and starters. So we'll see. I'm praying he works his magic like he worked in San Francisco and does it with us. But we're going to see. Like I said, next year is going to be kind of a rebuilding year for us, in my opinion. That's why I was saying we might as well go and get the quarterback now so you're already ahead of times with a quarterback. So because next season I don't want to have to be thinking about a quarterback. We got one,
Yeah, so, but I mean, if we take that deal, bro, I just feel like we'll get the quarterback, but then like it's gonna take 3-4 years before we're able to actually rebuild. A rebuild would take a lot longer because we have no future because we're trading away 3 first rounds, 3 second rounds.
Yeah, you're right.
That's no future for 3 years off of a QB. We don't have just a plug and play. But I'm with you. We got to get a QB. We got to figure it out.
And I just feel like if we keep Tannehill, we're probably gonna go 9-8 next year, or 8-9, and we're gonna be picking in 15. It's gonna be even more harder to trade up for a quarterback next year. So like,
we put pieces around Tannehill, he'll be better. Like I said, we don't keep no consistency around Tannehill. He hasn't had a wide receiver core longer than 2 years, so like he's constantly always having to recycle through wide receivers. He has no chemistry with nobody ever. They trade him away and get rid of him. So we got to build pieces and give this guy a chance. This guy can win football games. Is he the greatest? Is he the elitist? No, but he can still go out there. He handles the games. He doesn't turn the ball over much. He don't put us in bad situations where we lose games like a Dak Prescott. Like, we can still get it done. The Rams won the Super Bowl with Stafford. Ryan Tannehill's definitely better than Stafford to me.
Yeah.
And that's the same case with the offensive line too, man. I mean, we haven't had a solid core of guys on the offensive line since, I mean, shoot, I can't even remember. I mean, sure, you know, Lawan's been there. Ben Jones, he's been there. But, I mean, Lawan been in and out the lineup more than, you know, Ben Jones has, but just everywhere else, I mean, it's always, you know, some sort of change going on. And looking at the Eagles, I mean, they're playing the way they're playing right now on the offensive line because those dudes have been together. I mean, who they got over there? Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. Yeah, man, them two guys done been in the Super Bowl together. I mean, shoot, they done seen it all, done it all with each other. And I feel like that's what the Titans haven't had in a while, just a good, solid core. And, you know, once that offensive line get to rolling, I mean, everything else gonna fall into place.
I just for one, you know, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Audrey.
Oh, I was saying I just for once want to be able to consistently throw the ball. Like that's what my thing is. Like if so many times, man, we've gotten our run game stopped, man, and we just haven't looked good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like for once, man, can we just get some consistency in the passing game, man? That's all I ask for this season.
Like, Chris Fraser says reasons to trade for number one. Loaded AFC salary cap expected to be as high as $256 million by 2024. Only 4 players are currently expected to make over $9 million in 2024. Nothing is more valuable than a franchise QB.
Got a point.
It makes a good point there. Y'all go follow. He's got a Facebook, Tighten Up for Life. Y'all go join that too. But yeah, it makes a good point.
That's all I'm gonna say. Beware.
beware. Beware of the hornet's nest.
It's all low.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It'll be interesting to see. And you know, free agency starts March 15th, so literally almost a month away. I mean, we're almost a month away from free agency starting, and all this stuff is going to be heating up. The rumor mill, all that. Heck, the rumors are already been floating out there.
Yeah, man.
Y'all heard about Keenan Allen? Yeah, I was about to say that. Y'all heard about Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett. Her name is. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. We better stay away from Keenan Allen.
The Chargers, they're not expected to re-sign them. They're expected to let them go. So they're expected to let Keenan Allen go and Everett go. They're tight end. So we was asking that question, do you think the Titans should pick them up, or do you think Keenan Allen is going to be kind of a Robert Woods, Julio Jones type of situation?
I don't know. That's hard to, because he didn't play most of the year.
Correct. Yeah.
He was hurt most of the year. So I just want to stay away from guys who are just injury prone and things like that. I don't know how injury prone Keenan Allen is. I would have to look over his career. I know he was hurt most of this year. Yeah. I'm just trying to stay away from all that, man.
Yep.
Like as much as possible. I understand why they got Robert Woods. If you really think of the Robert Woods deal at the time was a great deal for us. You know, traded a 6th-round pick for him, you know, barely gave nothing for him. And you take a shot on them, right? And if you have a decent offensive line and a decent offensive coordinator, I mean, he might have had 800, 900 yards this year. Who knows, you know? So it's like you said earlier,
right?
Leonard, it's hard to – with the atrocious offensive line that we had, the play calling, it was hard to judge Tannehill this year. It really was. I mean, and I felt like as a whole, Ryan Tannehill did have a better year than he had last year as a whole, you know. But it's hard for any team. You know what I mean? Look at Aaron Rodgers this year. Yeah, they picked it up towards the latter half and won a bunch of games toward the end. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he just to show you how good he is, he still threw 25, 26 touchdowns, you know, and with the crap.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at he didn't have any weapons out there in wide receivers, you know. His offensive line wasn't that great either. So, I mean, just shows you how good I think Rodgers still is. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see, man. At the end of the day, I think we're keeping Tannehill. I think, you know, they're going to try and bring in like Matt Nagy or somebody to see what they still have in Malik. I don't know, man. I just see this playing out because there's so many holes. I think you got to fix the offensive line. I think they're probably going to stick with Tanny one more year. Try to see what Malik can do, and maybe you go into the offseason with a backup battle. You put some heat on Malik with Dobbs. I don't know. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
I think next year's drafts will be a lot easier for us to grab a quarterback too. Like you see, that's very pricey for a quarterback this year because so many teams need a quarterback this year, and there's not that many quarterbacks. And there's already a lot of teams this year that can't go into the year without finding at least a guy to be the quarterback. Next year, there's a lot more quarterbacks coming out, and not as many NFL teams needing a quarterback. You know, I'm looking at my eyes on Caleb. Like, I would love to have Caleb come. So there's a lot of players out there that still, like, I know we get tunneled on like this one, and we got to do, I know, but we still got more years. We got a lot to fix. So I think next year is going to be our optimal time to, if we're going to draft a QB, I think we can draft a QB without putting the franchise at risk of possibly hoping that this guy is going to be it.
All right. I just feel like a lot of people, they just trying to rush Tannehill out because they don't like Tannehill. My thing is, I know that he isn't going to be around much longer, and that's why I'm not opposed to, you know, cutting him and trading up and getting a quarterback. But at the same time, I don't have nothing bad to say about Tannehill. Tannehill done his job last year. I mean, all I wanted out of Tannehill was to cut the interceptions down. He done that. I mean, you can't look at too many, if any of those games, and say, oh, Ryan Tannehill lost us that game. Nah, I mean, most of the time, really all the time, it was Downing or the offensive line or both. So bringing Ryan Tannehill back, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It'll probably be the best thing for right now since we got so many holes.
Yeah, I think that is the correct answer. Is for us to keep. I know I have my pipe dream, man, but like I said, the correct answer, yes, is to keep Ryan Tannehill and go ahead and draft the offensive lineman in the first round of the draft. But I will say, that we have been predicting the Titans to do some old Titan stuff, and they've been coming out with some new stuff that you didn't think we were gonna do. Cause we all thought that they were gonna hire Ryan Coden as our GM, and what they do, they brought in a guy from outside. We all thought that the Titans was going, we thought they were gonna just do old Titan stuff, and you see they already inquiring about the number one pick. Like, they're trying to see what the price is. They trying to get Indianapolis and Houston scared, you know. They trying to get them they throw the whole bag to try to go and get that spot. So we'll see.
And you got to respect Rand for, you know, going and doing his job. I mean, that's what you want him to do, even if we ain't going to, you know, move up, still ask around and see, you know, what do they want? Because you never know. They may say, you know what, we want this right here. And you may be thinking like, hey, we could probably make this happen. So, you know, Rand, he just need to keep on doing what he doing. I mean, he's doing all the right things right now.
Yeah, and there's been some people in the chat talk about Tannehill's salary, and it is extremely high. And if you're going to keep him, you got to restructure
Correct.
or extend it or whatever to get that number down this upcoming year, because it's ridiculous.
Put it as incentives and have Amy pay him. Take it off the
Right.
salary cap to where it comes out of Amy's book, and the salary cap, and he has to earn it that way. So if you don't go out there and play it, then you're not getting the money. So you got to go out there and earn that money, because we got to restructure it. But I believe Aaron Rodgers is making $50 million next year. He's going to be outrageous. Tannehill made $16 million last year, where he was the 15th highest paid quarterback last year. So I know we get hung up on this one, but we know we can restructure. John Robinson put us in some bad contract situations that we can fix to make this salary cap more feasible to us. And Amy already said she's willing to take on the load of paying some of these contracts so we can make room in the salary cap to pay players.
Stanley brings up a good point about we still have Henry. If you look at, a lot of people have talked about Aaron Rodgers, and I think if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm saying, look, I want to go to a team where I can win a Super Bowl. I'm in the last years of my career, and I still think Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. Possibly a great quarterback. But he's in the last years of his career. I think if he wants to go anywhere, he wants to win a Super Bowl. I don't see why he would come to Tennessee unless they just are like, hey, we're bringing all these offensive linemen. We all of a sudden have this stellar offensive line. We bring in another weapon. That's the only reason I would see Aaron wanting to come here. And Aaron's salary is actually it's actually lower, his base salary. Now he's got a crazy cash incentive that's $60 million.
Yeah.
Obviously that number would have to change. He's not going to be able to stay with that number. And he had talked about it on the Pat McAfee show about how he knows it's got to be lower and all that, or it's got to be worked out or whatever. But I'm all down for Rodgers, but I just don't see that being even in the scope of possibility for him. Why would he do that? Why would he come to us?
I'll tell you what, don't be surprised if you don't see Aaron Rodgers in a Raiders uniform next year. That's where I think he's going to land. They got a run game. They got Adams there already that he's used to. They got a defense that can build for him. He can go there, and they'll pay him there as well. So I see him going to the Raiders next year. I think that's where Aaron Rodgers is going to land.
I would talk about Derek's comment. With T. Higgins, if we got T. Higgins, how we gonna get Aaron Rodgers? We're gonna have to trade 2 first-round picks to get him. So we're gonna have to trade a first-round pick.
We ain't fixing that offensive line if we go and trade for T. Higgins.
Right. Higgins is awesome, though.
Yeah, it would be great.
Higgins is awesome.
It just don't seem feasible.
I want T. Higgins, but I don't want to trade the 11 pick for him.
Yeah, I agree. No.
Cause you're gonna have to sign this dude anyway. I mean, the Eagles done it with AJ Brown, but I mean, still with what all we got going on or whatever, I mean, we don't need to be making moves like that unless it's for a quarterback.
Yeah. And speaking of, I saw some comments about Derek Carr. I don't know if y'all saw Derek's video. This was funny, man. I'll go ahead and play it. But this was Derek Carr at the Pro Bowl talking about how he wasn't going to be with the Raiders or so. It's pretty funny.
You've thrown touchdown passes in Vegas before. You've been on fire. Have you ever been that hot in Las Vegas?
Not that hot. It's probably why I'm going somewhere else.
Bro, well, if this was your last outing in Las Vegas, they are definitely going to miss you.
Were you there? You went to the Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah. So,
you were actually at the game.
Those fans are upset with Derek Carr is leaving. They are hurt. They are crying. They are not happy. Yes, Brandon the Big Jeff out there as well. So no, it was
Leonard was smoozing it up with Big Jeff at the Pro Bowl. Look at him on the strip, just hanging out with Jeff. Did y'all go gambling together?
Man, that's dope, bro.
Yeah, man, it's cool. He's hella cool. He's hella nice and everything, man. Yeah, I know that ankle ain't 100%. You seen McJeff out there doing some of them skills, and I know the Titans posted that video of him pulling all them weights and everything. What they didn't show you is at the end of that he was limping pretty hard and pretty heavy. So that ankle is still bothering him. So he's still got some time to go for recovery. But man, it was good to see him out there. It was a lot of fun. It was nice interacting, meeting with him and everything. It was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But back on Derek Carr, you know, there's a big debate. You know, is Derek Carr better than Ryan Tannehill? What do y'all think? I
don't know. That's tough. I mean,
I don't think so.
It's difficult.
I think honestly for me, Derek Carr is a stronger arm, more alpha Mariota. He's exactly like Mariota, but he speaks up louder sometimes, and his arm has a little bit more power. But other than that, him and Mariota are almost the same QBs to me. They just can't win in the playoffs. Then they barely get to the playoffs. I don't think so.
I'm gonna go with no. I don't think he's better than Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, man, he done been all the way to the AFC Championship. I mean, he's a good leader. You know, he's accurate. He can run. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Tannehill can outrun Derek Carr. You know, I'm going Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I have to say Tannehill as well. But at the end of the day, they the same tier quarterback. I mean, they right there with Kirk Cousins and Jimmy Garoppolo and whoever. Dak, I guess.
Dak Prescott's in there. He's in that conversation.
Nah, man, man. Dak's tier 3, bro. Hold on, don't try to boost Dak up here. Dak's still down here at tier 3, bro.
But yeah, man, I think Tannehill's better. I mean, Tannehill, he done had some dudes or whatever, but I mean, Derek Carr, he done Devontae Adams. I mean, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow had the league's leading rusher this year. I mean, he got Josh McDaniels. I mean, he didn't have more than what Tannehill had around him and done accomplished less. So,
good point.
Yep.
So apparently Byron Leftwich just reached out for that Notre Dame position. So I think Byron Leftwich was going back to college. So that's one box we're probably not gonna get.
That's right. That's probably a good.
That was Leonard. Leonard, that was your dude, right?
Yeah, that was your dude.
That's who I was wanting to come here, bro. I hope.
Now, was he the OC for the Bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he their actual OC?
Yeah.
I thought he was the head coach at first, and then I found out later on the head coach. It was what? Ty Bowles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit that one.
We asked the chat too what they thought if Derek Carr is better. We'll kind of roll them down real quick. Lonzo says, "Hell yeah." Pelican says no. Jay says pretty even. C-Dub says yes. Let's see. JS says Derek Carr. Ducky, I think he says this at least one time a show, but he hates Ryan Tannehill. P Shark says barely. MB says if you have to think about who is better, then they're both the same guy. It should be more clear cut. Exactly. That's a good statement.
What Morocco laid out, I think it explains it pretty well. I don't think there is really a comparison the way he laid it out.
Yeah, they're in the same tier.
Quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You put Tannehill in Derek Carr's situation last year, he's not getting fired.
Yeah.
I want to hear some people elaborate on why do they think Carr is better, because, I mean, I guess you could point at the stats, but, I mean,
look who we done
sit up here and showed you Ryan Tannehill stats all day, and all y'all tell us is, he can't win a playoff game. So, I mean, why would you sit up there and say that Derek Carr is better?
I just don't look, man. Derek Carr got better stats. I mean, he throwing to Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Mac Hollins. Like, them not bad receivers. Like, come on, man. Like, you put Tannehill out there, he gonna throw the same yardage. Like,
Yeah, and even before that, before Devontae, he had some good receivers too in the past with some of the teams he's had.
He had Zay Jones.
So, I mean,
yeah, he had weapons, man. Like, come on now. You're not finna sit
yeah,
there and act
right.
like they didn't have weapons. And he got a running back. He got running backs. Yeah, with Josh Jacobs, like, and the color of running backs behind him.
Yeah. And the different offenses too. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
more.
Yeah, and I mean they ran a lot more this year with Jacobs than they ever had, and that's because Jacobs was just a beast this year. He was awesome, man. He was one of my favorite running backs to watch, other than Derrick Henry, of course.
Yeah.
But he was awesome.
It's a contract year for him too, ain't it?
Yeah,
Jacobs.
Yeah, he's gonna get paid for sure.
He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma too.
Yeah, all right, I wanted to kind of bring this up, and MB talked about it earlier in the show. MB, one of our loyal followers. This was on A to Z earlier. They had kind of switching gears. Is kind of off topic, but they were talking about like this is kind of going back to the guy, the Chicago Bears fan account guy. About what he released, and I just kind of want to play the video and touch on it because you guys are content creators and we have a lot of Titans content creators out there, and I want to play this video and we'll kind of get everybody's thoughts on it.
It's always about understanding where that line is on being a fan platform that can have opinion, that can have reaction and have conversations versus trying to create and stir up news and media. So Caleb says, why are we devaluing them, or why do we need to devalue them? You guys have no idea what they know. It's not it's just again, I feel like
Caleb, no, I'll answer this.
Okay, go for
Caleb,
it.
you need a reputation.
Yeah.
Like you have to build a reputation that you can break news or you're informed over and over and over again to earn the trust. And if you're just throwing out, and that's why there has to be checks and balances that there is not on the internet. That's been the problem. Whether you're talking about an election and politics, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about celebrity gossip, God knows how many times that, things have been thrown out about one person cheating on another celebrity, and it's been just dead ass wrong because there are celebrity blogs, there are sports blogs, but your reputation has to precede you.
So they were talking about this for like 10 minutes earlier, and I wanted to bring it up just because, like I said, we're all content creators and stuff like that. And they didn't call me out per name, but and I don't think it was about me or anything, but they were just talking about the Bears guy and stuff like that. And a lot of, and there was something that Zach said too that kind of irritated me. A lot was like, content creators need to know their role. Fans need to know their role when it comes to creating content and stuff like that. And, my issue with it is like, and the guy made a comment during the video there about, what do you know? Like, why devalue them? And also, you got to build up a reputation. If you are a guy that's putting yourself out there, which we've done at this network, we've released quite a few things. Luckily for us, they came to be true, 90% of them, I would say. But it's just, to me, it's like it kind of goes back to the, okay, yeah, know your role, but at the same time, you guys kind of started where you started in the beginning, not y'all, but A to Z or anybody else. Corey Curtis, he started somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And I would be lying to you guys if I didn't say I would love to do this as a profession, whether it's making money on YouTube, becoming credentialed, or whatever. Who wouldn't? What dude wouldn't? Would love to make money about talking about football all day. It'd be fantastic. Now, the reality of it is we're all working people. You know what I mean? Most of us have jobs. This is not my everyday job. I have a job where I work my ass off 40 hours, 40, 50 hours a week, like most people do, you know, but, I don't know, kind of what are y'all's thoughts on that video? How did y'all take it? I didn't really take it as in like a bad way, but some of the things I did, but kind of what are y'all's thoughts on it?
I mean, I look at it like man, it just seems like it's the big dog is worrying about the next thing that's coming, and I feel like what they're doing is like we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have your sources, and I mean like. You had broke the Tom Brady news that he was gonna retire like a week in advance before it even happened, you know, and it's like if people was mad about it, people was calling for your credentials and all this other stuff, and then it happened, and then you get the last laugh, you feel me? You know, so I don't get that stay in your lane thing, man. They do what you do, you know, and I ask for anybody that's doing this, if you have a legitimate source that you can tweet out or whatever. Tweet it out, man. Don't let these people talk you into doing something that you know that you have. You know.
Yeah, I'm with RJ, man. I mean,
that's a good point.
To me, I think they most definitely feel some type of heat or whatever, because usually when they not worried about, you know, something, they don't even respond to it. But you know, they gave, you know, a 10-minute response to, you know, whatever they were responding to, and to me that right there smells like, you know, there's some, you know, fear with them or whatever, because just like RJ said, I mean not just us, but you know, everybody who does the same thing that we do, I mean, they on the come up right now. And you know, seeing Rossi, he got Corey Curtis on his show. I know a few other podcasters who done got, you know, credible people in the media on their shows or whatever. So a lot of people doing the same things that they're doing. And I think with A to Z, I think like, you know, they done got to a point to where they feel they forgot how they came up. I mean, Rossi, you said it. Everybody got to start from somewhere. And, you know, what I've seen out of people, some people who make it up so far, they forget about, you know, their come up. They're only looking at, you know, where they're at right now. So I think there's a lot of that going on with them.
I just think it's weird that you want to dismiss a source or something that comes out there. And I haven't seen the full clip neither, so y'all correct me wrong if I'm wrong here. Did they bring any factual evidence to prove that this man is lying or ain't got no base, or other than it's just, well, we just don't feel no way? So like, if you're credentialed, you're
this is what they posted. I took this directly from their show. They made this graphic.
Yeah,
they made sure to put that his account wasn't a regular verification. He paid for it, and you know what I mean, put the Bears fan account type of thing on there.
But I mean, but still, yeah, you know, who knows what this person has said or seen or heard. So like, to the point for me of them saying like, you know, stay in your lane. Well, you're credentialed, you're supposed to be reporting right? You got the credentials for the Titans. Stay in your lane, go fact check this, do your reporting, go do your review, go check, instead of just coming out here blindly slandering somebody saying they're lying without any proof, or that, well, they just need to build up their credentials. That's what they're trying to do right now. They got to start somewhere. They're trying to build up a credential, and you're ready just to tear them down just because they ain't never done nothing to build up a resume. So I think that's very disrespectful to not think that other people can bring something to the table and bring some information that you missed, and then just try to shame it down because you're not the first one to have that information to put out there.
Yeah, like I said, just hating on the next guy, man. That's
so.
You're all I see, man, is that you're a threat, man. You're a threat.
Call your sources.
That's all I see.
I don't know if it was, you know, obviously they were, what brought it up was this Bears guy. I don't know if they were talking about me or throwing, you know, whatever. I don't know. I mean, look, I used to have some beef with those guys, but we hashed it out and all that, and we've been cool. Austin was on my show literally like a month ago. He was cool and everything. I don't have, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade on them or nothing like that. I mean, they do a good job. They do a show every day. But the one thing I loved what you said, somebody said, you said it, Leonard, about go check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go check your sources. And Broadway Sports, who I've had beef with too, but Easton Freeze, who does some stuff for them, which I like Easton. I've never had any issues with him. He's got a podcast, and he messaged the guy in our very own Power Hour. He messaged the guy too. The guy's Bears account. Apparently, you can just message him. He's got his messages enabled, and they went and asked him, and the guy responded to him. And Easton's got a video where the guy actually talked to him and explained to him how he found out. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, if you got to question it, go ask him. And I will say Austin Stanley has messaged me before and said, how'd you get this information? This was like something a long time ago. I was like, hey, it's a secret, man. It's a source. It's a secret. That's what it's all about. But
yeah. That's what you do. When stuff comes out that's like that with anybody, if you're in this field, and you got your credentials, like you say, call your sources, go double check, go reach out to the people that are saying these things, go to see if it is. Don't just come out here while you're sitting there. You got to build up your credibility and everything to your viewers while you're sitting there talking about something that you didn't even, go to try to compete with the sources to figure out and get the full story of stuff. So be 100%.
Yeah.
And you got to watch how you treat people too, and you got to watch what you say to them, because you don't never know who's going to be who one day. And just like how they were going in about the Bears dude or whatever. I mean, you never know. I mean, this dude could actually become somebody, and they could remember that. And we live in the internet age where you can't do anything and get away with it. So these people, man, they'll bring up everything about you. So, man, you better watch how you deal with people nowadays, man.
Use your platform.
And for the Brady thing,
right?
I gotta give Titan Upload. He's kind of the patriarch of our network, but I got to give him credit because he was the one that actually came out with that. That was his own personal source. I didn't even know he had a Brady source or whatever. But he called me the night before. He was all excited about it. He's like, man, I got it, dude. I got it. And he's like, I was like, what you got, man? He's like, Brady's retiring. It's official, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how do you know? It's like, oh, I talked to this guy, blah, 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 and I'm going to release it tomorrow. So many people hated on him for that. And it was very early. I get that. And also with Brady, we've gone through this thing over and over again with Brady. So I get why it didn't get a lot of play. It didn't get as much play as we thought it would. But when he retired, that's when it got the play. Like initially it didn't get that much play. It didn't get that many retweets or whatever. After he retired, people are like, oh shit, like maybe he was onto something, which I thought it was awesome. I was like, heck yeah, dude. But it was pretty cool. But anyways, we're gonna start wrapping it up, guys. It's been an awesome show. It's been a great show tonight. We've had the chat has been great too. We've had hundreds and hundreds of comments, so it's been amazing. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. Everybody, Chris Frazier, Jay Tyrus, Ducky, MB, Titan Fox, the Pelican, William Young, who's always in the building. A lot of regulars in there tonight too. P Shark, y'all go check out P Shark's podcast. Let's Be Real Media. Eric Alonzo, Damon, JS, C Dub. A lot of folks in here tonight, man. Jeff D, MB, SM Ducky's always in the building. We just got a $5 super chat come in. Stanley Wilson says, what I do know for a fact is whatever Rossi and Upload has put out has happened in less than a week. So much love on my man. I appreciate that. And I appreciate
man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. And that $5 means a lot to me, man, for real. So that's awesome. what you guys got coming up, man? Y'all got anything special coming up? Kind of let us know what y'all got in the works going on over at the Colosseum.
Man, we got a good show lined up this week, man. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on out there. We're gonna have Chris Newell, aka Titans and Truth. I call him the truth in
Heck
the
yeah,
booth.
dude.
You gotta say it with an F, man. I mean, we're gonna have him on the show. I mean, it's gonna be a dope show. I mean, we come on every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So
there you go.
Check us out. We on all platforms. Leonard, anything you got to add to that, bro?
No, yeah, definitely check us out. Go follow all of it, or follow us on social media. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know when we're going live and everything. It's been a true honor to be here, Titan Rossi. Appreciate you having us on and putting us on your platform like this. It's been really cool. So I'm really appreciative, and I know we all are. So thank you.
I'll go ahead and say my grace. Hey, Titan Rossi, thank you for having us on the show, man. We always love discussing the Titans with you. Like I said, if you want to go check us on the Facebook page, check us up on YouTube, man. We love this. We love doing this, man. This is the favorite thing I love getting on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to get on the podcast and talk about our favorite team, man. So that's it. Hey, hit that subscribe button, follow. You know how I do.
Yeah, man. Rossi,
It's fun, right? It's fun doing this type of stuff, man. Like,
yes,
it's like this is kind of it's kind of become more of a hobby for me lately. Like here in the last year or so, when things have picked up and stuff like that. But it really is, man. I love doing this. I'm also I'm a musician too. I had a band for years and stuff like that, but I kind of look at this is the same as my music. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that I'm very passionate about. It's like how somebody's a painter or somebody's, loves working on cars or whatever else. That's what it's like for me. And I'm sure y'all probably share that same sentiment. And with a comment there, it says Titan Nation needs to stick together, because really they do, man, because, there's not a lot of Titans fans out there.
No.
Not in other states, really. I mean, you might like Houston and things like that, but I lived in South Florida for 3 years, and there wasn't no Titans fans down there. I don't know where y'all live, if y'all live around the area.
I live in Nashville.
Yeah, I live in Nashville too, from Mississippi, and even down there, I mean, it ain't too many Titans fans.
Yeah. I got in an Uber a couple days ago before I was going to Vegas, and the Uber had a Titans hat on. This is the first time in 33 years of my life I have found another Titans fan in Oklahoma. I was so ecstatic. I was just talking to everything like, "Oh, you really Titans? Oh, it's like, man, I ain't never seen one of you before." I was excited.
Yeah, I just
That's
know, like,
funny. When I was in, oh, go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, I was saying just out here, man. I can't do a 360 without seeing a Titan fan like everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like whenever I hear his story, hear Firestone stories about how he don't barely see any Titan fans, I'll be like, dude, like out here, it's like in our blood, man. Like,
Right. When I started this channel, I lived in South Florida because I lived down there for like 3 years, and I moved back about 8 months ago. But I lived down like near Miami, like Fort Lauderdale. That's the reason I started it, because I couldn't just turn on the radio like I used to, and listen to Buck Rising or whoever. And I met one dude in a store. He had like an old Eddie George jersey on, and I got all excited, man. I went up to him, I was like, "Tighten up, man." He looked at me all crazy. Like, what the hell are you talking? What is that? He's like, I was like, your jersey. He's like, "Oh man, I got this at Goodwill." It's like, oh, okay. Like he wasn't even but that's kind of what got me going too. I was like, and I met so many cool people through this platform, man. Like some James and Mark of our network, and a few of the guys. I mean, these guys, I hope you'll be lifelong friends, and that's why I tell people to subscribe all the time, because that's what this community is all about, man. So y'all subscribe. Y'all go follow Titans Colosseum on their YouTube and all the podcasts. and all that type of stuff. And we appreciate y'all greatly. We're going to get out of here, tighten up. We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, how y'all doing? This is Jalen Fly, aka the Mountain Mover. Make sure y'all follow my movement. But in the meantime, check us out. I need y'all to like and subscribe because this is Titans Rossi. Oh, let's go.